One time I was having a conversation with a CEO, and he said to me, Bob, I don't really think I need a speechwriter. Everybody tells me how great I am off the cuff. I think I'm good. I don't think I need any help. So because the person was a quasi somewhat friend of mine, I decided to do a little bit of research. I found out as I talked to some of the employees that they didn't think he was great off the cuff. They just told him that to boost his ego. And also, well, because something very practical, he was writing their checks. So they would sit and listen to him drone on, tell story after story, and take way longer than he needed to get his point across. So I went back to him and said, I've got bad news for you. You're not as good off the cuff as you think you are. And I have to tell you that most people who believe that they're good off the cuff really aren't. They've only been told that because people are boosting their ego. It takes years of experience, years of doing it, years of mistakes and missteps and mishaps and learning from such to be able to become an effective communicator just standing on your feet. So what do you do if you have to give a speech? What do you do if someone comes to you and says, I want to give a speech? You know, it's a great opportunity, but suddenly it becomes an insurmountable obstacle that you don't know what to do with. Well, I would say, just like if you had a problem with your car, you would hire a mechanic. Or if you had to paint your house and you didn't know how to paint, you would hire a painter. I would say to you, hire a speechwriter or a speech coach. Here is the challenge. Right now, this is being recorded in 2020 when we are facing this pandemic. Suddenly, everybody is a communication expert. They're a speechwriter or a speech coach, and they're telling everybody how to pivot and go online and be better on camera and all of these kinds of things, and they all have the secret. But here's the problem. Most of them don't have the experience that they need out in the real world to really coach you to be the best that you can be when it comes to speaking. So how do you decide whether you are talking to the right speechwriter or the right speech coach? Well, today, very quickly in this video, I want to give you five questions that you can ask that'll help you separate the pros from the people that maybe are not so professional. So here's question number one. What else do you write, or what else do you do? I asked this question because one time I was talking to a man who was a copywriter, and he says to me, hey, Bob, I think I'm going to try my hand at speechwriting. I said, that's great. I think I'm going to try my hand at law. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, you don't just try your hand at speechwriting. Obviously, you need to write a speech and get some experience, but you don't just add it to your services as a copywriter and say, I write speeches, because writing a speech and writing copy, or writing a speech and writing an article, are two totally different genres. They're two totally different things, and they're two totally different modes of communication. So asking somebody else, what do they write? It may be good if they're a good writer, but if they don't know how to write for the ear and they're not a speechwriter and they haven't written a lot of speeches, that's where you have to watch out. Also, what else they do. Now, I happen to also be a pastor, so I have given well over 5,000 speeches, sermons, and other presentations in my lifetime already. In fact, more than 5,000 in all types of different situations. But most people haven't done that. There are people that are calling themselves speechwriters who yesterday maybe have been a mechanic or something else, and somebody just told them, hey, you're really good with words, you ought to be a speechwriter. And ta-da, they got out on the internet, and started promoting themselves as such. So you want to ask them, what else do you write, or what else do you do? If they've had experience in the area that you are hiring them for, especially when it comes to speech writing, or they've given a lot of speeches themselves because they are in some type of another business, then I would certainly talk to them. That's question number one. Question number two, how many speeches have you written? If you're looking for them to write a speech or to even write out talking points for you, it's not always going to be word for word in a manuscript. Ask them, how many have you written? I would say if it's anything less than, say, 25 to 50, they may not be the person for you. Don't let someone cut their teeth on an important speech with you. When I've told speechwriters how to get started, I've told them work with local political candidates, go give speeches themselves at open mic forums in different places so that they've got that experience, and find somebody there that they're volunteer to write speeches for. But if somebody has not written a minimum of 25 to 50 speeches, I would be very careful and see how they answer the other questions, because here's question number 3. Question number 3 is, how many speeches have you actually delivered? Now, herein lies the rub for me. A speechwriter who has never given a speech in their life is probably not the person that you want to hire to write your speech or your talking points. Does it mean that they can't write a good speech? No, but can I just tell you a little secret? Only about 50% of the speech you're going to give has to do with what is written. The other 50% is all about delivery. It's all about how does it work in front of an audience. You want to have someone who not only knows how to get the talking points down, but then who coaches you through the delivery. Why? Because they have given a lot of speeches themselves. Now, can you have a coach that's a great football coach that maybe has never played professional football? Yes, they are a rare talent. But with what you're looking for, make sure that they've given some speeches themselves. And the more, the better. Ask, how many speeches have you delivered? And then number 4 is, how much contact will you need with me? How much contact and access do you need to have to me, and how much contact do you need to have with me? Now, this is important because if someone tells you, oh, I can just kind of read your other articles and look at your bio and all of that, be very careful. I can look at maybe some presentations that you've given on YouTube. You can send me old speeches that have been written for you if you've had that. I can look at listen to audio and watch some video. But a good speechwriter is going to need to have a good amount of access to you, to be able to talk to you, to get your passion, to get your voice, to learn your voice, to be able to pick up on that, to see how you think. That's why some of the greatest speechwriters for some of our best presidents have also been their closest confidants and counselors, because literally they knew how the President of the United States thought. They sometimes would know what they were going to say next. So they need to have as much access as they can get to you as they are going through the process, especially depending on the importance of the speech. But can I tell you, most of the speeches are really important because of these things called phones and because of these things called iPads, because of the electronic age. Everybody has a camera. That means everybody could possibly be recording what you are saying. So be very, very careful with that. So question number 4 is, how much access do they need? Question number 5 is real simple. What's next? What's your process for working with me? I know that all of us as speechwriters have been doing this for a while, or speech coaches like I am, actually have a process that we work through. We have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 that we go through depending on what your needs are. So ask them, what is your process in working with me? If they say, well, we're just going to be kind of casual and sit down and talk, and then I'll sketch some thoughts out. If they're casual about it, that means they're going to be casual about the process. So be very careful. Do you need a speechwriter? No. No, you don't. And let me tell you why. You don't if you think that you're the best communicator around and you don't need any help. I'm being facetious. All of us can use the coaching help, especially when it comes to this issue and this thing of communication, because it's the most important tool that we have. And the higher up the leadership ladder you go, the more you're going to be called upon to speak. So don't be haphazard about it. Make sure you hire the right help. Ask, what else do you write or do? How many speeches have you written? How many speeches have you given? How much contact do you need to have with me? And what's next? And that'll at least get you on the road that once you get the answer to those questions, you'll be on the road to determining, is this the person that I need to work with me? Is this the person that's going to help me get my message out with impact? Thanks for watching.